Talk shoes.
Recorded live.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Müvment Boxing Podcast. I am Twine the Divine Liberty of HoopJab.com. Also, of course, the Müvment here. And I'm joined with my cohort today, also the Müvment. And the truth of facts about boxing, we got Bo. What's going on with you, man?
Another day, man.
All right, and we should be joined by 2K a little bit later on in the show. 2K the Prodigy, formerly of the Guys of Boxing Talk. Are you ready to dive into these topics we got going on today, man? We got some pretty interesting ones, man.
You know what, dog? Oof. Yeah. All right, man, let's go.
All right, man. We're going to start off with pretty much the World Boxing Super Series. They had their draft and all that pretty much recently to announce their matchups for the two different divisions that they're having the tournament in. First one being Super Middleweight, and the next one we'll be covering is the Cruiserweight division. So they did their draft for the matchups for everybody involved in the tournament over the weekend, and we'll get into pretty much the matchups that were announced. So, like I said, we'll start off with the super middleweight tournament matchups that were made. And it's looking like we got the top four seeds in the tournament are George Groves, who's, what is he, the WBA champion, I believe?
Yeah, I think he might be.
Yeah, he's the WBA champion. Caleb Smith, who will be fighting for the WBC Diamond title, and we'll get into that whole rigmarole later in the show in his first matchup. And we got seeded number 3, the winner of the Chris Eubank Jr. matchup and Arthur Abraham matchup coming up this weekend, which we'll also be talking about later in the show. So the winner of that matchup will be seeded number 3 in the Super Series, and ranked number 4 is Jürgen Bremer, ex-champion, out of Germany. So let me see the matchups we got going on. Let's see. So it's looking like George Groves, he'll be facing Jamie Cox in the quarterfinals.
Yep.
Okay, and let me see what else we got going on in here. Caleb Smith, he'll be going against Eric Skoglund for the WBC Diamond Belt title, which we'll get into a little bit more detail about how that came about as we progress through the show. So that was pretty much how those first two matchups go. Then it's looking like Arthur Abraham, Chris Eubank Jr. Opted for Avni Yildirim.
Chris Eubank Jr.? No, he's fighting Arthur Abrams.
No, I know that, but that's who they'll be fighting after that. So whoever is the winner of that fight, they'll be fighting Avni Yildirim in the tournament.
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay. Let me see who else we got here. And it's looking like we got Derry James' protege. He's trained by Rob Brandt. Yeah, he made the jump up. He's moving up from middleweight to 168 to join this tournament. And he'll be facing ex-titleist Jürgen Bremer. So that's a pretty interesting one right there.
That's actually probably a good one for him to test himself at. Because Jürgen
Bremer was a long-time champion. He's the elder statesman and attorney, Hey, that is definitely a good step up for him. His first fight back up at 168. Let me give props to 2K actually for correcting me on this. Brandt actually started his career at 168 before moving down to middleweight. So that was something I wasn't aware of. I thought he fought his whole career at 160. So Props to TK for clearing that one up. So he'll be moving back up to 168, which is apparently it's a weight that he's comfortable at. Of course, he's trained by Derrick James, and he'll be facing Jürgen Brähmer. Let me go ahead and get I guess we'll start off with George Groves' fight initially. He'll be fighting, let me see once again. He said he'll be fighting Jamie Cox. How do you feel about that matchup initially in the quarterfinals?
It's a fight that Groves should win. Jamie Groves has experience. He has that championship pedigree because he's been in a lot of championship fights as well as finally winning his first championship. Jamie Cox is, he had 23 fights, 13 knockouts. I don't see him opposing no, dangerous threat to him. Still sort of green in the aspect of, and I know nowadays you have 20-some-odd fights. People say you're not green, but what I mean by green is if you look at his level of competition, he hasn't faced anybody like Groves. So he's still sort of green out there in the UK circuit. So this is a fight that Groves should win because Groves has the experience. But Jamie does have youth on his side. Jamie does have, he has those youthful legs and that youthful energy. And as we've seen as of late, it seems like, these youthful guys get in the ring with some of these older battle-tested veterans, and they've been able to, come out on top. So he definitely has youth on his eyes. He definitely has good, decent boxing ability. I can only gauge off his opponents that I've seen him in there with, and he seems to have good, decent boxing ability and decent power. He's got 13 knockouts out of 23 fights, so it's definitely respectable power. But this is a fight that Groves should be able to win this fight. He has the experience and that pedigree. That should be enough to carry him to probably a unanimous decision victory.
All right, and it's looking like in this matchup we'll have Caleb Smith taking on Eric Skoglund for the WBC Diamond Belt, which was it's a whole big story behind it as far as how that came about. So I'll get into it now, I guess. Caleb Smith, of course, was scheduled to fight Anthony Dirrell for the WBC title. Prior, and there's some issues that came up to where, I guess, from what we're hearing, Anthony Dirrell wanted to change the venue to Flint, Michigan, to try and do something to support, the crisis out there, of course. And pretty much Eddie Hearn wasn't having that, for the most part, and so the WBC presented Caleb Smith with the opportunity to get this WBC Diamond Belt because of that haggle and negotiations. So the winner of that fight between him and Skoglund will be the WBC Diamond Belt holder. And I guess they did that to make it more, put more prestige on the tournament and add another belt at stake. Pretty interesting move by the WBC. Also by Caleb Smith been doing this. Let me get your thoughts on that, Bo, and on this fight with Skoglund.
All right, well, you're giving the let me make a correction. Jamie Cox is actually 1 year older than Groves, but because I said he had youth on his side, he's actually 1 year older than Groves. So let me correct that. You're giving the WBC too much credit. WBC is full of shit on this one. Look, I understand Caleb Smith and them didn't want to fight in Detroit because they had already agreed to the venue when Al Heyman and them won the purse bid. They already agreed to the venue, okay. And then, of course, Anthony Dirrell wanted to change that. So I don't have a problem with them saying, listen, we already agreed to a venue, and then you change the venue. My problem is that Eddie Hearns did say that, okay, listen, we're not going to fight in Flint, okay, but we're not going to enter the tournament either. And I remember the article where Caleb Smith wasn't going to enter the tournament because Anthony Dirrell didn't enter the tournament. And in that same article, they did express the concerns with him trying to change the venue. My issue with this is the WBC should have stepped in, which they didn't, and instead of trying to be a mediator where all points are happy by saying, well, we'll give you a diamond belt, what the fuck does a diamond belt mean? What the fuck is that? So we'll give you this WBC diamond belt to not hurt your feelings instead of saying, well, you guys got to try to work this shit out and, come to some type of fucking agreement. You don't want to go to Flint, fine, but you guys should work this out. and come to some type of agreement. And they didn't. So they handed him a diamond belt, and, he entered this tournament. Now, props to him for entering the tournament. And what they should have probably did was put this fight in the tournament. They should have said, well, listen, if you want to fight in Detroit, then this is what we'll do. We'll make the fight in Detroit, but this fight got to be part of this tournament. See what I'm saying? I mean,
exactly. They should have mandated that.
Right. Yeah. See, my thing was there was no options that would use it. WBC just, okay, we're gonna appease you, motherfuckers. Like, what the fuck?
It ain't even that. It's another money grab by the WBC because they get more sanctioning fees out of these fights. So like I said,
of course, because if Caleb keeps winning, you keep getting sanction fees.
Yeah, or whoever's winning throughout the tournament. That fight, that title is going to be at stake every fight. Throughout the tournament.
Every fight. Right.
And
so
you got to think there's still another WBC belt at stake, which we'll get into later. When we get into that topic. So, like I said, the WBC they put the money grab out there to sanction the fees for the.
Yeah, they showing their ass.
Yeah. But
but I like this fight with
Taylor. You think it's them handing it to him basically?
Hang on, what now?
Do you think it's them basically handing him a title?
Most definitely. Well, I think he already was a champion. He
he was a silver. I think he was WBC silver.
Right. He was a silver. Right.
Yeah.
So, this is just a situation where they just, like I say, if you got to look at what the diamond belt really don't have no specific type of meaning, and that's the thing that kind of irks me. Is like, what the fuck is the meaning of the diamond belt for what? Because you got the diamond, you got the imperial, which means I think that's a fighter in recess. But I'm like, and then because it's confusing, and this is what makes it ugly, is you got the diamond belt, but then we know that David Benavidez and Anthony Dirrell finna fight for the WBC fucking belt. So, like, why? I mean, like, what was the purpose of having this motherfucker a diamond belt?
Exactly. This is the same bullshit they did with the Jorge Leonardes and Anthony Correa fight,
Sure did.
Don't throw in the WBC diamond belt in there. That's the same exact thing they did. When Mikey Garcia was actually fighting for the vacant title, like this situation now, that was supposed to be Caleb Smith versus Anthony Dirrell, which didn't come about. Right. So, Mikey Garcia fought that dude Z, because Z was the WBC champion. So Mikey Garcia fought him and won that belt. And supposedly Jorge Linares has the diamond belt, and I'm thinking all that means is you can, if you hold the diamond belt, if you want to challenge for the regular belt, you get first dibs, and I think that's all that means. Okay. So
I like this fight. I like this fight with Caleb Smith and Soglin. I like this fight. It's a pretty good fight. The thing about this tournament is it's another tournament with outside of Brant, who just went in it. We didn't have no Americans in that tournament. So it's one of them tournaments that probably will get more European value in it.
Very true.
Than American value, because think about this. You don't have James DeGale in it. And, he's a champion, so James DeGale is not in it. And so there are, put it like this, there are a lot more noticeable missing names in this tournament than it is in the Cruiserweight tournament.
Yeah, this is definitely the weaker of the two tournaments. It's definitely not like a tournament to really be excited about. Like, we're not seeing Gilberto Ramirez in a tournament or anything.
Right, that's what I was just going to say. No Gilberto Ramirez, no Jesse Hart. There were a lot of other middleweights that you could have put in there other than some of these dudes I'm looking at.
Yeah, exactly. Even putting the real Uskadegi rematch in here would have been
there. You go.
It would have got it some American exposure at least.
I agree with that.
Is definitely lacking as far as in star power. Maybe in Europe, there's a lot of star power, but as far as excitement.
Matter of fact, think about this: Jürgen Bremer actually came down in weight to be in this tournament.
Yeah.
Jürgen Bremer held the portion of the title 175, so he's coming down in weight. That's what I'm saying. Like this, I'm glad it's a tournament. because it keeps a lot of these guys busy. But this is I'm with you. The Dirrell should have entered this tournament because they don't fight a lot. This would have kept them busy, and it would have, at least at some shape, form, or fashion, added more credibility to it. Because when you look at these names, man, Jürgen Bremer, and I'm not knocking Rob Brandt, but he's not a big household name. When you look at these names, Jürgen Bremer, Yildirim, Adina Yildirim, Skuglig. You got Colin Smith and Groves, but outside of that, who knows the rest of these guys, man?
Very true. And so it's looking like the winner of this weekend's Christopher Eubank Jr. and Arthur Abraham matchup will be seeded number 3, and they chose to go with, I believe, what was his name, Avni Yidam?
Yes.
That'll be the opponent. So that'll be their opponent for that fight. Not much known about him. I haven't necessarily seen him fight. So I mean, like I was saying, a lot of guys we don't know about. But there's a couple of titles at stake here. You got the IBO title in there with Christopher Eubank Jr. If whoever wins that one out of him and Abraham. You got, of course, the WBC Diamond Belt in there, and then you got George Groves, who's, of course, a WBA titleist. So, I mean, there's some belts at stake here. I'm not sure how the IBO is getting so much goddamn mention still, but I'm pretty sure Bernard's loving it, that they're possibly becoming the 5th organization, become unified in the division, which I think is. Yeah, I don't really want to see that happen, but it's definitely looking that way. What do you think about that fight as far as the winner of Abraham and Christopher Eubank Jr. facing Yidam? Easy walk through the quarterfinals, or are you expecting them to have to go through a rough one against this guy?
It depends. It really depends. I think it's going to depend on the performance. If Chris Eubanks blows away off the Abrams, because that's what they said they want to do. They want to do what nobody's ever done, which is
knock him out.
Knock him out. So if he knocks, and then he's fighting this guy Turkey, and who only has 16 fights, by knockout. So that at least tells me the guy has punching power. But then it goes back to the experience factor. Chris Eubanks has the better experience. Chris Eubanks will have the better pedigree. And Chris Eubanks actually, he's been training he's trained a few times over in America with Floyd Mayweather Sr.
Yeah.
So one can look at it and say easy walkthrough. I would have to put it up there as an easy walkthrough. I'm not trying to say Arthur Abrams is an easy walkthrough, but at 37 in the wars that he's been through, he didn't look that great against that Mexican guy. Gilberto Ramirez, Zordo. He didn't look that good. He didn't look that spectacular against Zordo. So, yeah, I mean, if people look at it as an easy walkthrough, I won't be upset because it very well possibly could be. But he might have chose that because he might have a tough fight with Abrams.
I mean, he's been in there against some formidable guys, Marky Antonio Paraban, very rugged guy. He's been in there against him. He's been in there against ex-champion Glencoe Johnson, Aaron, this Avni Yildirim guy. So he's been in there against a couple of tough guys, some formidable guys. But I mean,
formidable guys as far as. Well, you know what? For a guy with 16 fights, you would expect him to have those names on his resume. So I'll give him that.
Yeah. So I mean,
it
might be a nice fight for Christopher Eubank or whoever the winner is. I mean, I would expect Arthur Abraham to be able to have the experience to beat this guy, but Abraham is on the decline as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, this guy might give either one of them a stiff test in there.
I think you're being a little bit more optimistic than me.
Yes, do you think so? I mean, I'm not. I've never been that high on Christopher Eubank Jr. personally.
Well, I'm not either.
That high on him. So that's why I'm like, I don't think he could bust grapes either. Like, as far as him expecting to knock Abraham out, he ain't got the power to do it. Like, I don't see him having that kind of power unless, he was losing power cutting weight to make 160, which I don't know,
Yeah. His power, like, I'm with you as far as him having power going up is what I would, he's having power going up is what I would question. What, too, and let's keep in mind.
He didn't necessarily have it at 160, so going up to 168, I wouldn't expect it either.
Now, I will say this about your boy, Avina. I will say this. The guy who you just named, Marco Antonio Pereira, he went to Mexico to fight that guy. And so I'll give him that. His last two fights one was in Italy and I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, his last two fights wasn't exactly, most of his fights have normally been in his backyard. So his last two fights wasn't in his backyard. So he's used to traveling, fighting. So I don't think he'll be. Yeah. But I'm just saying though. I hear what you're saying. Like the guys he fought, have had winning records. They had over 20 some odd fights. So we can take that into account. But I'm just like, like Pyramid. I remember hearing that name, but he was a decent fighter. But I can't really gauge him because he didn't really like step up. He hasn't had like a step up fight himself. So
yeah. I mean, it's looking like we'll see what happens. They're fighting as far as Christopher Eubank Jr. and Dr. Abraham this weekend, and we'll do a breakdown of that fight later in the show. So these are the last two fighters remaining, which was Germany's Jürgen Bremer and Rob Brandt. Making the move back up to 168, fighting. I think this is probably the most intriguing matchup of the first round, possibly. Let me get your take on it, Bo.
I like this fight. Actually, this is a good test for Rob Brandt. It's a real good test for Rob Brandt. Now, we haven't seen Jürgen Bremer since he lost to Nathan Cleverly. We haven't seen him, but what we did find out is if you can outwork Jürgen Bremer. Jürgen Bremer is almost 40 years old, and when you're 40, coming down in weight because he first fought at 175, now he's coming down to 168. So when you're 40, coming down in weight, that could play a major role on his body and how this fight is going to turn out. But it also gives Rob Brandt and for us to see. Hey, what do you have? Because you're in there. You are in there with a seasoned veteran. You are in there with the guy like Jürgen Bremer will probably be the best guy he's probably ever faced. That'll be on his resume. So let's see what you can do. Because if you do have the goods, either one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to dominate Jürgen Bremer for 12 rounds, or you're going to knock him out and get him out of there. Which either or is the statement you want to make going into this tournament. Because you don't want to seem like you struggled against a guy coming off of a loss where he got outworked and they're almost 40, because if that happens, then everybody's gonna be looking at you at food. I think Robert Brandt could be the dark horse in this fight, and because keep in mind, he like you said, he's coming in there with Derek James and that camp, and they run a very good camp over there, Derek James, and he can get some good sparring in with Charlo and Spence and all them. Yeah, they run a very good camp. So. I like this move by him. Like 2K said, he fought at 68 before. And since we don't know what's going on with Endom and Murata, and that's because he really is in line for that. But since we don't know what's going on with that, he's like, listen, I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to be sitting still. So, he jumped in this tournament, and hey, man, props to him.
Yeah, and winning this tournament definitely probably would give him a whole lot bigger name and a whole lot more credibility, being able to win multiple titles and throughout one tournament. So, it's definitely probably something that would be more beneficial. It's a weight that he seems to be comfortable with. I'm actually picking him to possibly win. I think he could actually win this whole tournament, man. I'm not picking against a Derek James fighter right now. That man is tough. He's building stallions out there, man. I was surprised about the jump up, actually. But, once I heard 2K told me he fought at 168 prior, to move him down to 160, I was like, okay, I'm not too shabby or too, not too shocked anymore about the decision as I was initially. He did fight as an amateur at 172 as well, so he's a guy that cuts weight. So, he has a lot of power at 160. Wondering how it will be at 168, actually. You have any other thoughts about who's your favorite going into this tournament, man? You got to look at George Groves because of his experience factor and the guys he's been in there against. Who's your favorite in this tournament right now?
Honestly, man, it's hard to pick a favorite because any one of these fights, I can see upset, and that's really the truth. I could see Cox probably coming out on top of Groves. I could see Smith should be okay. I see Banks should be okay. Grant should be able to beat Bramer, but once you get past that, then you go with they fight each other. So it's kind of hard, man. It's one of them things you just have to see it how it plays out tournament by tournament. But if I had to pick a person right now, I'd have to go with Groves, but my dark horse would be Brand.
Yeah, and of course we have another up-and-comer in Caleb Smith who, a lot of people think he's the big thing,
Yes.
At 168. So, we'll be this is definitely going to be an interesting tournament. It just doesn't have the star power that I think are the elite names that of course there are at that enter at Cruiserweight. And which we'll go ahead and get into to those fights now, actually. Pretty awesome. This tournament is so damn deep, man. It's just so deep. Very deep tournament. We've talked about it a while. We were excited about it even before Usyk was thrown through his hat in there. We thought it should have been talked about then. Now that he's in there, it wasn't talked about at first, but now we're seeing a lot more, a little bit more news about it. But let me get your thoughts about this initially, man.
What fight is this? I'm sorry.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about the first fight. Let me see. Yeah, we're about to talk about the Cruiserweight.
Yeah, you got Marco versus Usyk.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and chop it up about that one. I haven't seen the seedings, actually. That's what I was actually looking for. Let me see.
Yeah, it's Marco Huck versus Usyk.
Versus Usyk. Marcus Breedis is facing Mike Perez.
Then you have Dorticos facing Dimitri. Dorticos facing that guy Dimitri Kudashev, and then you have Chris Wright, and then you have Garcia fighting that guy who's actually his mandatory, if I'm not mistaken. That guy
Christoph Velarchuk.
Yes. So you have that's the fights right there.
All right, so I guess we'll do Usyk and Huck is a very interesting fight. Let me get your thoughts on it, man. Usyk didn't necessarily impress people in his last fight, even though he came through with the KO, with the late knockout in the fight. Let me get your thoughts on this one, man. He's facing the agent Marco Huck, who was the one-time, long-time king at Cruiserweight.
That's right.
Now he's the new guy, and then now you got Usyk, who's the new young gun, who, everybody's saying he's the guy. You know what I'm saying? He's untouchable at 190, man. So let me get your thoughts on this. We got the vet against the youngin.
I like this fight. He didn't look like the Usyk. He didn't look like the Usyk that we saw win the title. You know what I'm saying? So I like
against Glowacki.
Yeah, I like this fight. He didn't look like he didn't look like the Usyk that won the title against Glowacki. So I kind of like this fight, but at the same time, I also think that Usyk might have fought like that because that was nervous energy. He was trying to make a statement. And, he was trying to let everybody know, you know how it is. Like when a guy leaves the train and gets a new train, he's trying to make a.
Yeah.
So, So, yeah, I like this fight. I think this is going to be a curious fight because if Usyk comes out and he's the Usyk that we remember, then he's going to be hard to beat. Okay? He's very hard to beat. Just based off his performance of how he looked and how dominant he's been looking, you have to look at him as the early favorite. But, he's going to be – like a lot of people think Marco Huck is done. I don't think Marco Huck is done. But a lot of people are looking at Marco Huck might be done. No, I don't think Marco Huck is done. And we're going to find out right away. But it's an interesting fight only because of how Usyk looked in his last fight. He didn't look that great. And that's the only thing that makes it interesting because if the guy he last fought was able to touch him up, Marco Huck could be able to touch him up too.
I mean, it's a different style. Like they say, styles make fights. His last fight, he was against a guy that was actually doing things counter to what Usyk is used to. He's used to guys standing in front of him, so he's usually the more athletic guy doing more movement. In his last fight, it was the guy that was actually using more movement against him. So he had to be. He was on the other end, being the stalker for the most part.
Right.
I think we should see in this fight, considering Huck's style, he stands in front of you and likes to counter with his power shots, and rough you up. We're gonna have to see him at a high activity, have a lot of activity in this fight, which he hasn't had in his recent outings. But he's definitely a style that I think Usyk is more favorable with. And like I said, he's not with Uncle James Ali. Who's Bashir Ali, of course, who's of course, a big guy that's been on our show a couple times. Bo's real close with him, talks with him all the time as well. He was actually a former trainer at Usyk, so I mean, he's not would necessarily have in the same camp. So I'm not sure what we're going to necessarily see stylistically from Usyk, look moving forward. I mean, he was using a lot of movement in the angles before that we're used to seeing with like a Lomachenko, and he's now with Papachenko, Anatoly. So I don't know if he's going to employ more of that style again because he didn't really do it in his most recent outing. Of course, and like I said, it was a style that was different. So I would expect him to go back to that in this fight, against a guy that's a little bit more stationary and is in front of you. I would expect Usyk to get a unanimous decision and shine over Huck in this fight, though. What about you, Bo?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to KO, man. I think Usyk's gonna try to knock this guy out.
Man, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible.
I think he's gonna try to knock this guy out.
It's definitely a plausible outcome, man. We have seen him put out before.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a plausible outcome. We've seen Usyk put up a string of knockouts recently in his last two fights, I believe. So we'll definitely be paying attention to this one. And let me see, we'll go into one of the other fights. I'm pretty interested in seeing Breedis against Mike Perez. That's a very interesting fight to see where Perez is at. He's been inactive. He signed with Eddie Hearn. And he was in a fight recently. I don't think he necessarily should have been in this tournament, man, because he hasn't been active enough. And, especially not being at Cruiserweight prior, I think that was his first fight back at Cruiser.
Yes, it was.
So, I mean, I don't think he should have been one of the names that was put in there, personally. I mean, I'm kind of opposed to his name being in this tournament that was that deep, because there's definitely another big name they could have put out there, personally. Let me go ahead and get your thoughts on this fight with him and the young Breedis.
I do not see Mike Perez being successful in this fight. And everybody thinks I'm crazy, and they keep saying there's something about Mike Perez. Listen, Mike Perez has not been right since he hurt that big heavyweight in that one fight that he was last in. So he's in there with Breidis. We know that Breidis, not Brandon, Breidis can punch. We do know one thing about Breidis is Breidis can punch. He has an extensive, he's 32 years old, 22-0. And, he's just one of those guys that we know that come, he fought Marco Huck. He fought Manuel Char. So, he has some good name on his resume. I just don't think Mike Perez upstairs mentally has enough to beat Breidis right now. I just don't think. I know everybody's saying he's in the best shape of his life. He's a dark horse. I don't see what everybody else sees. So I see Breidis winning this fight.
I mean, when we first talked about this, when we talked about the tournament last week, before they did the draft and the matchups this past weekend, my pick was actually Breidis and Usyk being in the finals. So, I mean, that's how high I am on Breidis. I think he'll give Usyk probably the best fight out of anybody in this tournament. I know you're pretty high on Dorticos, but I think stylistically, I think Breidis.
You think I'm high on Dorticos? You're not gonna think so when you hear my analogy.
All right, so I guess we're gonna go into his fight next. We're gonna talk about that one. Dorticos will be facing Dmitry Kudryashov of Russia. This is probably actually a pretty interesting fight. Dorticos, of course, undefeated, knockout artist. Kudryashov, same thing, knockout artist. He's only lost once in his career. Definitely an interesting fight. Let me get your thoughts on this one, Bo. You got some insight, with your dealings with those guys down in Miami. Let me get your thoughts on this one.
All right. Well, this is a dangerous fight for Dorticos in the fact that, yes, we do know that the guy Dmitry lost, but his only loss came to Breidis. And we all know, and that.
Hello?
Other than that, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, we got you now.
Is that he's 21-1. So all 21 of his fights ended with him knocking people out. All of them came back. He only had one loss, and that's to Breidis. So this is a guy that we know can hit and get people. That tells me he has good punching power. Now, this normally wouldn't be a big problem, but the problem with Dorticos, outside the fact he does have that long arm reach advantage, like 80 or 83-inch arm reach advantage. But the problem is, and 2K said it too, he sets and plants his feet when he punches. And when you're set planting your feet, that means someone else can pull back, and you're not in a position to get out of the way of a punch. He does end every punch. He goes to the body, but you can kind of catch Dorticos' rhythm. He won 1-2, 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4. 1-2, 1-2-4 or 1-2-3, and if you can time his rhythm, you can kind of catch him a little bit because, again, he plants his feet, making himself a stationary target. So this is a good fight for Dorticos as far as testing him because this guy could have Dorticos answer some questions we've never seen him ask himself before. What do you do when you get hurt? What is it like when you see somebody in there with someone that has the same amount of power as you and pop you with it? What happens when that arm reach advantage isn't enough for you? What happens? So it's a very dangerous fight. And listen, we could be looking at two Cubans being eliminated from the tournament early. We very well could be. But yeah, I'm just, hey man, we got to be honest with ourselves here. We've never seen. This is why I wanted him to fight Shumanov because I'm like, okay, we could have got somewhat of page on you, but now you're fighting a guy who does at least has experience from being in there with a big puncher in Bradis, and that experience could carry over into this fight with you. And he is a big puncher, and you're a big puncher. But what happens when he hits you? Now, we got one thing he has. The only advantage that Dorticos has is one thing we know about the guy he's fighting, he's been knocked out. So you can't knock him out, and we know this, okay? You definitely can knock him out, and we know this. I just don't want it to be a situation where Dorticos get too anxious thinking, I'm going to go blow him away and knock him out, because 9 times out of 10, we've seen in boxing, when that happens, you're the one that gets knocked out when you try to do something like that.
All right, and that's going to lead us to our, our last initial preview, I guess. We got Miura Garcia taking on Gloracek, who's his mandatory. Pretty interesting fight. I expect, me personally, I expect Garcia the course win this one. Right. Pretty big puncher, of course, trained by Abel Sanchez out of that stable out in Big Bear. Gloracek's the old veteran. That's a 2-time champion at Cruiserweight. He's been through it all, man. So, I mean, very rugged and experienced guy. He should be able to put up a good testament of himself in this fight, man. Let me go ahead and get your thoughts on this fight, Bo.
I like this fight. Let me make myself clear for all my people out there. I'm not saying that Dorticos won't win. I'm not saying that at all, period. I'm saying he's going to be tested. But no, this good fight, a very interesting fight. It's actually one of those fights that I'm with you. Gassiev should win this fight. All the champions have the ability to win this fight. Gassiev is winning this fight. My only thing with Gassiev is, as we saw against Lebedev, because he punches with so much of his upper body and arms, he tends to gas a little bit. And,
yeah, that's a pretty muscular fighter too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's a concern, especially when you're going deep into this tournament. When you get in there with guys like and stuff like that, and you're gassed, because even though Usyk didn't look good, we still saw him even in the very last round step on the gas. He stepped on it in the very last, so he's in shape. But yeah, I like it, but at the same time, it's just one of those fights where, put it like this: each guy in the first round could take a fight. Each one of these guys is fighting somebody that has the potential to take something out of them going into the next round. Very true.
Very true. Good point. Or even upset them. There's some very experienced guys in this field to go along with these young champions. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this tournament plays out. But, who's your early favorite and your dark horse in this one, Bo, in your tournament?
My early favorite is Usyk. My dark horse is Dorticos.
Okay.
Because actually, when you think about it, he's the one with the least amount of experience.
Yeah.
Seriously.
On the big stage, yeah, very true.
He's the one with the least amount of experience. So.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and go into the rest of our breakdown and topics for the week, man. We have some pretty good other announcements going on. We suspected this fight was going to be made, and we were waiting. I guess it was close to going to purse bid, but they finally came to an agreement. Terry Flanagan will be facing Felix Verdejo September 16th, same day as Canelo and Triple G. Fighters in the UK. They'll be fighting for the WBA 135 title, and which is Verdejo has been his mandatory for quite some time. Bo, your initial thoughts about this fight, man?
It's Terry Flanagan is probably one of the guys there that has that bullseye on his back, so to speak. Ever since Croya lost, he's probably the one got everybody looking at now like he's fooled. So, kind of hard, man, because Felix Verdejo did not look that good. This is actually a fight that I could see Terry Flanagan winning. Because Felix Verdejo did not look that good in his last fight at all, period. And he didn't. Felix Verdejo did not look that great at all, period, in his last fight. So I could definitely see Flanagan winning this fight. And, you know, I actually questioned Felix Verdejo's focus because, remember, he supposedly turned down this fight at first because he didn't like the money. You know, so interesting fight. I could see Verdejo. I could see Flanagan winning this fight because I'm worried about Verdejo's mental state. And like I said, he didn't look that great in his last fight. But what's even more of a concern is whoever wins this fight may not be holding on to that title very long if you look at the 135-pound division. Because, like, if Mikey Garcia, whether he win or lose to Adrian Broner, I don't see Verdejo or Flanagan beating him. I don't see Verdejo or Flanagan beating Jorge Linares or, hell, even Robert Eason Jr. So whoever wins this fight may not be holding on to that title very long if one of the other champions try to come get some of them. But good fight, interesting fight. I'm glad they was able to pull this off. But I could see Flanagan winning. I could definitely see Flanagan winning. And, like, it's a 50-50 fight to me, man. It's a 50-50 fight as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I honestly think Flanagan will fluster Verdejo. I think he'll actually win this fight. He showed me enough in his last outing to where I think he has enough to beat Verdejo, who hasn't really been impressive in his more recent outings. You know, his last impressive performance was probably against Ivan Bam Bam Nahara. You know,
okay.
And that was quite some time ago. You know, so I mean, Verdejo. I mean, we've been waiting for his breakout party, and, you know, he seemed to kind of regressed a little bit. One thing of note to put out there, he finally switched camps, which we've been crying for over a year with him. I mean, a lot of people have. I know I've been one of them, saying that he needs to leave his amateur trainers.
Okay.
You know, he's been working with Abel Sanchez, so Abel is his trainer for this fight. You know, it's his first camp under Abel, so I'm not going to put too much on him. You know, there's no language barrier, so I should expect there's been no problem in the transition. But we'll see how that goes, man. Abel's good with seems to be better with pressure fighters as far as training them. And that is, you know, Verdejo seems to be a guy that wants to be very offensive stylistically. So, I mean, it is going to be interesting to see what Verdejo does as far as Abel Sanchez does to maximize Verdejo's potential in there, especially in this fight against Flanagan, because he's definitely going to have to pressure Flanagan to win this one because, you know, Flanagan's a pretty tall, rangy fighter as well. Not as tall as Easter, I think. He might be maybe an inch or two shorter. But pretty rangy guy nevertheless. So Verdejo is going to have to pressure him to actually to win this fight, you know. But, you know, I'm probably leaning closer to Bo now with 50-50. I'm thinking Abel might be able to implement some positive changes in Verdejo. I'm pretty optimistic on that one, though. So, you know, we'll see.
Okay.
All right. We'll go ahead and go to our next topic, which is one we mentioned a couple times. We kind of tickled a little bit earlier. It's looking like Anthony Dirrell will be fighting David Benavidez. It's still in the works, so it's not official yet. But it's looking like for the vacant title that he was supposed to be fighting Caleb Smith for, Super Middleweight title, WBC, he'll now be fighting the next ranked opponent, which is David Benavidez, who, you know, he's been pretty impressive recently. You know, since his incident, you know, getting shot last year, he's put in some spectacular performances. Bill, let me get your thoughts on this fight, man, initially, and everything that's going on with the WBC and their handling of the situation.
Well, the handling of this situation, the fact that they're having this fight, and this fight is like me and you just talked about. This fight is for, I think this is for what, the WBC regular champion, right? The regular title.
Yeah.
So the handling of this was piss poor done.
WBC.
Right. So the handling of this was piss poor done. Okay, let's just call it what it is, and let's be honest with ourselves. The handling of this was piss poor done. However, I like this match up. I'm going to tell you why. Because, and I said this, and everybody got mad at me when I said it. I said, yo, Anthony Dirrell just went out of the frying pan and into the fire. Look, this kid, David Benavidez, most fighters, you want them to have like a very good, long amateur background. But here's the thing, though. He gained tremendous amount of experience fighting in training camps with guys like Gennady Golovkin. And that's an experience in itself because he even helped Golovkin prepare. He helped prepare Golovkin for Daniel Jacobs. Okay, so you got him in there in sparring with guys like Gennady Golovkin. You got him in there with Canelo. He turned pro at 15 in Mexico. So he has the ability. We saw it on display. He did the Porky Medina where no one else could have done. No one else could have done that to Porky Medina, what he did. Matter of fact, we didn't see nobody else do that to Porky Medina. James DeGale was even telling everybody how hard it was to knock out Porky Medina, let alone hurt him, and he goes in there and blasts the guy. He shows the skill as far as movement, giving you the angles, using it half in space, his jab, his body work. All of those are danger for Anthony Dirrell because Anthony Dirrell, although Anthony Dirrell has dog in him, the only thing he's ever lacked, and I've said this, is Anthony Dirrell just lacks the ability. His brother is probably the more gifted of the two fighters. Dirrell is just a dog. Well, David Benavidez is both the dog and the gifted fighter. And Dirrell can start off slow sometimes. Anthony Dirrell can be a slow starter, and this is not a guy you want to start off slow with. So this is a dangerous fight for Anthony Dirrell. I'm leaning toward David Benavidez because his recent body of work, and he's the more active fighter. And, you know what's that old saying, knives sharpen knives? Well, so he's been the more active fighter as where Anthony Dirrell hasn't. He hasn't had a fight in a minute. And we just saw David Benavidez fight recently, and what a performance it was. So I like David Benavidez in this fight.
All right, pretty interesting. Very interesting pick. And actually, Badu Jack was able to knock him out as well, just to put out there about Porky Medina. So, I mean, Medina's been in there against some rugged guys, top of the division. So, for David Benavidez, 17-0, the young guy on the block, I mean, that's definitely an impressive victory the way he put out Porky Medina because not too many guys have been able to do that as you mentioned. Let me get your answer. Ask this question as well. Since you said that, I kind of wanted to piggyback off of something you said. Are you higher? Because you said he went from the frying pan to the fire. Are you higher on Benavidez than Caleb Smith?
Oh, much hell yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
I really am, because Caleb Smith isn't the mover that Benavidez is. You got to remember something, too. Benavidez, he's tall and rangy, and he fought. He's a big 116-pounder. Benavidez, I believe, somebody was telling me, or I remember hearing something about he actually at one point went as far as up past, like, almost cruiserweight when he in one fight he had. So
he actually lost a lot of weight. He got into boxing to lose weight initially, and look at him now.
Yeah, so he's a big, strong boy. He's a strong kid.
Yeah, and young. Youth on his side, man. He's definitely going to be a force to reckon with at 168 as long as he can make weight, man. I'm definitely interested in seeing the fight. That camp that David Benavidez is, over there with Oscar Valdez and all those guys out in Carson. I mean, they're out there. He's out there put some real guys out there. Their trainer is no joke. So they're definitely maximizing out there. He's improved a lot of guys. Benavidez, he's moved out there permanently since getting shot, and he seems to be taking boxing seriously, since being shot. It was an unfortunate incident, but it seems to have lit his fire, when people were starting to think he was starting to lose focus, at that time as well. He wasn't as impressive in fights, and he's put on some very impressive outings recently, so it was definitely something that seems to have triggered something in him to change him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does at 168, man. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with. As far as Dirrell, man, we're going to see how much dog he got in him. Because he's definitely going.
He's gonna need it. He's gonna need every bit of it. He's gonna need every bit of it with this guy right here.
Fighter, yeah, he can potentially be in a dog fight for real in this one. Man, yeah, definitely. But I definitely want to piggyback off of what you're saying about the WBC and their mishandling of the situation. It's unfortunate. I think they should actually mandated something. I mean, if you can't get these guys to both enter the tournament or agree, neither one of them need to fight for that title. There doesn't need to be a new one. That's a sham. And for us that pay attention, we know what it is. You guys trying to get more sanction fees ultimately. And it's of course, being a big organization they are, they're gonna want to attach their name to a tournament. But, I don't think they had to go about it in this route, man. But they definitely could have handled this a whole lot better.
I agree 100%.
Definitely anything you want to add about that one?
Yeah, dude, there's really nothing more you need to add. You hit it. You hit it all on the head. I agree 100% with you on all that you said. There was definitely a better way this could have been handled. There was just so much, like you said, man, this should have been done in a more decisive manner that would have been more understanding for not just us, but for the fans as well.
Yeah, because ultimately it does what, it creates another situation like the WBA with the super and regular belts, which is
exactly.
Something they were trying to move away from, which has been a crock of shit as well. But that's another topic. The WBC is creating this diamond belt. This is the second time they've done it. They did it, like I was saying, with Jorge Leonarez and Anthony Croya for their fight, and they're doing it again now for this 168 tournament. So we'll see how it goes, man.
Big dog.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get into our next topic, which is another Cuban-related topic. Guillermo Rigondeaux and Moises Flores rematch was actually ordered finally by the WBA. We knew it was going to be ordered already, considering the outcome, and they turned it into turned it to a no contest last week. But what I really wanted to get on is what have you heard about this, and what do you think Rigo should do personally, and what is this camp leaning towards? Because I'm like, does he need to really rematch Flores? I think it's going to be considering what he did, the way he put him out. I think he knows what shot he's gonna be picking. You know what I'm saying already. Let me get your thoughts on that one, Bo.
Hello, man. Say that again. This fool came down here messing with me, man.
Rigo and Moises Flores.
Oh, man. The only good thing about this fight is that it keeps Rigo busy. That's it, because they ordered it. That's the only good thing about it. It keeps Rigo busy because they ordered this fight. But I don't particularly care for this fight. I think what Rigo needs to do is he needs to show people that he is very serious about his career. He's very serious about maybe even getting the Lomachenko fight and go ahead and go to 126 and challenge a champion at 126. That's what he needs to do. Or, like we said, look for a formidable opponent at 118 because he can still make that. But
Well, yeah, that's what I actually wanted to touch on. I was thinking, I mean, does he need this rematch? Like, what do you think he should do? I mean, should he take this rematch, considering I think it's going to end, he's ultimately going to knock Flores out. I mean, Rigo knows the shots what he's going to pick already, considering Flores couldn't hit him with any damn thing in the round that it did last. So, I mean, is this a fight he needs to take, or do you think he needs to explore his alternatives of moving down or up right now instead of taking this rematch?
It's a fight it's a fight he needs to take because it's a fight he can take and stay busy. Because if he tries to go to 126, it would be met with extreme resistance. Because remember, the motherfuckers at 126 didn't want to fight his ass 122. It's stacked with motherfuckers that didn't want to fight him at 122, so he could be trying to get a fight at 126, waiting a very long time to fight. And since we don't know what the future is of Rock Nation and its boxing side of Rock Nation, I wouldn't fuck around. I would at the very least, I would entertain this unless we get something else better in play. I would say, look, we'll entertain this, but let's see if we can get something else better in play while we're entertaining this. That way, if we get a champion that says, listen, yeah, I'll fight you at 126, then cool. Listen, dear Flores, here, your acting job paid off. Here's your trophy, motherfucker, my belts. And anytime I want them, I'll come back and get your ass for them. And that's what, in my opinion, that's what he should do.
All right. And what's going on with him promotionally, considering the Rock Nation thing? Are they exploring avenues right now, or is it something like, because we're hearing that they were supposed to fold after, that's possibly this Andre Ward promotion. So, right. I mean, what's the deal with this camp? Are they actually seeking other promotional avenues right now, or are they ironclad with Rock Nation till the announcement of the folding?
Right now, the only thing that I can say is they have been told nothing about his contract. So they're proceeding as if he's still operating under Rock Nation.
Okay. All right. So I guess we'll go ahead and go to our next topic, man. I'll go ahead and put my take on it, I guess. I think Rigo, personally, I don't think this. The only reason why I say take the rematch is because he'll be able to put some closure to it. The fight ended, of course, with some controversy and, of course, with the no contest. So that's the only thing I think he has to gain from this fight. I don't think he has to gain anything legacy-wise or anything like that fighting Flores in a rematch, but it will clean up that no contest off his record just to bring some closure to it. Other than that, we've talked about this plenty of times. Man, Rigo, 118, get you some of that UK money. I mean, ultimately, that's what I would do if I was Rigo. I wouldn't even think about 126. If the only thing that would make me move up is a Lomachenko fight, nothing beyond that. I wouldn't go up for anybody else but Lomachenko. That's just my opinion. Gary Russell is probably the only guy that would be willing to fight you out of those guys at 126. And, it would take a lot to make that happen still. So, Rigo, definitely stay at. We want to see you active. We'll keep our eye out on the Rock Nation situation because we're hearing more stagnant numbers as far as the Andre Ward promotion, with the free tickets and all this stuff going. Man, it's ridiculous, the stuff coming out about that promotion.
It is. And the really sad thing is, whether you like Kovalev or don't like him, man, Kovalev probably barely walked out this fight with $1 million. Barely walked out this fight with $1 million, and that's pathetic and that's sad. And while everybody's up there,
Chris was saying he might come out with that, but after those tickets, and we're hearing it's not actually closer to 92,000 pay-per-view buys. Man, he might. Yeah, I think he's pulling less than that.
Yeah, and it's sad because everybody's all upset at Andre Ward and upset at Andre Ward. And y'all not realizing what's being done to this man Kovalev. Y'all could be mad at Andre Ward, but look at what's being done in this man Kovalev, and then sit back and tell me who's the real robbers. and thieves.
Exactly. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get into our next topic. I guess we'll start our breakdowns of this weekend's upcoming fights. We got a couple of nice ones, man. It's gonna be a nice weekend of fights, honestly. You know, it's kind of dry last weekend. We only had the fight over in Scotland, I believe, which was O'Hara Davies and old boy that knocked him.
Josh Taylor, and I talked about that.
Yeah,
I talked about that with two separate UK people, and
they all predicted it, or what was the situation?
They were not surprised. They were not surprised at the outcome.
I mean, O'Hara Davies has always been sloppy as hell. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how he won the WBC silver belt, I have no clue personally. But I mean, they were trying to market him as their version of Floyd Mayweather.
Adrian Broner. No. He's the UK version of Adrian Broner.
Okay. Better comparison, I guess. But that was pretty much what they were set to do, and you know he didn't have the skills technically to even do it, you know. But other than having power, you know, because he definitely did hit Taylor with some shots in that fight, you know. But Taylor better technique, you know, better fundamentals, skills pay the bills, got him out of there. Body shots wore his ass down. But like I said, we're going to go into our breakdown for this weekend's fights. First one being Chris Eubank Jr. versus Arthur Abraham, winner going into the 168 World Boxing Super Series tournament with the number 3 seed and IBO belt. Let me get your thoughts on this one, man. How you see it playing out, Bo?
I like this fight. I'm going to tell you something about the Eubank. Say what you want to say about them. They know how to bring that American-style promotion to their fights. Because think about this. Who would have thought the crowd, you had Andre Ward, you had commentating, you had somebody else commentating for a fucking IBO title fight. Who would have, I mean, think about that. Just let that come in your brain. You had Andre Ward, the number 1 pound-for-pound guy, forget somebody else, Lennox Lewis. You had all these people for a fucking IBO title fight. And an IBO is not a belt that's recognized as far as you having to get it to be undisputed. An IBO is like that is like you have a father, and the father has 4 children, which is the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO, all by his wife, and then he has that bastard child, which is the IBO. But I mean, when you think about it, that's kind of how that scenario is, right? Like,
I'm definitely going to use this from now on. We're going to start calling it that bastard belt.
Right, that's what it is, the illegitimate bastard organization. But the Eubanks know how to promote an American style, and I think that's because his father has had experience with that. So it's a good fight for Chris Eubanks. You know, Chris Eubanks, he fought. You know, he's had some good fights. He fought Billy Joe Saunders, and I think Billy Joe Saunders is probably the only recognizable name that most of us would even recognize up until that time. And he really didn't do that bad. He just didn't do enough to win the fight, but he didn't do that bad. But Arthur Abrams, like I said, listen, Arthur Abrams isn't the same Arthur Abrams that he was during the Super 6 tournament. Like I said, he didn't look that great against Zordo. So Eubanks has the athleticism. He has the youthfulness. He has the speed. He has all the advantages, maybe except in power. And that's where it's going to come down to is the last thing that leaves you is power. Abrams can punch. The last thing you ever lose is power. We saw 40-year-old George Foreman knock out Michael Moore, knock him the fuck out. So the last thing you lose is power. So he's just going to have to be careful of that power. But he should not have a problem with Abrams. They talking about knocking him out. Too many times do I hear people say that, Then when you get in there and you get that woof and you feel that you throw your punch and you see that punch come back at you and you realize, listen, I don't got the guns to match this, then, he's going to revert back to his boxing skills. So I definitely see Eubank Jr. winning this fight. But, Abrams has a puncher's chance. And sometimes having a puncher's chance against a fighter who has the tools and the skills to offset that is just not enough.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the we're going to need to see old Arthur. That's all I can say. That's his only chance. We need to see old Arthur, rugged Arthur. He's going to have the rough Eubanks up somehow, and he wasn't able to do it to Zurdo. Because all the punches and the different angles, Zurdo, of course, is technically sound and knows how to pivot out of his combinations, and it's not something you necessarily see, from Mexican fighters that size, 168. So he's definitely really technically sound with the moving. I'm not sure what we're going to see from Christopher Eubank. Is he going to try to use more of the ring box, which I expect, which is something that could fluster Abraham as well, having to chase him down all fight and being on the end of punches, which is something that, you have to remain offensive against Abraham. That's the one thing. If you allow him to rough you up, he will make it a rugged fight, and that's something I don't think Eubanks Jr. would be able to handle if Abraham was able to make it a very physical fight. Let me get your take on that aspect of it, Bo.
Yeah, it makes it a rough and rugged fight. But see, the thing is, though, in order for him to make it a rough and rugged fight, he has to hope that Chris Eubank stop moving and stays, and backs up into his ropes and stays stationary. And Chris, say what you want about Chris Eubanks, he isn't a stationary guy. He does like to move a lot. In his last fight, he moved and dipped and all of that. So I hear what you're saying, and it's very possible because, like you said, Abrams, he can make it a rough and rugged fight, and if he makes it too rough and rugged, he could kind of offset the rhythm of Eubanks, especially if the referee isn't helping him out at all. He could offset the rhythm, but he's going to have to make it a rough and rugged fight. He's going to have to make it grimy in order for him to have some type of victory to offset. But I just think that Chris Eubanks does have he's not very good, but he has decent enough technical skills and decent enough movement to where he should be able to keep Arthur Abrams off balance.
Okay. I definitely think Eubanks should be able to come out with the unanimous decision in this one as well. I don't see the knockout. But Zurdo was able to hurt Abraham a couple times, not necessarily get him out of there, but it's going to take a lot of output from Eubanks to get Arthur out of there. He's a rugged guy, veteran, savvy, knows how to survive in there, even now. So we'll go ahead and go into the next fight we'll be previewing for the weekend, which is one that will be happening in L.A., I believe, this weekend on HBO's undercard. Joe Smith Jr. Taking on Sullivan Barrera at light heavyweight. I guess this is for the guy that's going to be next up after Alvarez, supposedly, for the WBC belt, I'm thinking. That's
right.
What this is for? Okay.
That's right.
Let me go ahead and get your thoughts on this, man. This is a very interesting fight, man. Very interesting fight.
It is a very interesting fight. And you know what? The thing that makes it even more interesting is these are two guys that have contrasting styles, but outside of the styles being contrasting, I can see the advantages for one guy being a disadvantage for him. Sullivan Barrera does come with the Cuban pedigree, but he doesn't come with that high Cuban pedigree, meaning that he's part of the Cuban team, but he was never part of that Cuban national. Well, I think he was part of the national team, but he was never part of the team that went to the Olympics because of his fighting style. So he even though he has that pedigree, it's not that high Cuban pedigree, but it still is a good enough pedigree to where you have to pay attention to it. Sullivan Barrera, he gets hit. We know this. You can hit him. We saw Andre Ward counter and hit him. We saw when he had what was the guy's name? Shabransky hurt.
Yeah.
Like he had Shabransky, but Shabransky was able to hit him to get out of trouble and come back. And so he gives you moments where he loses his technique or he abandons his technique and, gives you an opportunity to hit him. But he is a very good boxer. He has better boxing skills than Joe Smith. He's a better mover than Joe Smith. And, Joe Smith has been fortunate because he fought a Fonfara who was not a mover and stood right, a stationary target stood right in front of him. I take nothing away from him. He fought a Bernard Hopkins, but he also fought a Bernard Hopkins that got himself up against the ropes and stayed there. And he was able to land and knock him out. So he's riding the high wave, but then again, if you look at Sullivan Barrera, like to take nothing away from Fonfara or Bernard Hopkins, but if I was to take Fonfara and Bernard Hopkins at this stage, and I was to take the two guys that Barrera beat since losing to Andre Ward, he beat Shabransky and he beat somebody else. If I was to take that and look at it, and I say, hey, I'm not knocking.
Well, Shabransky's the only one. The other guy, that was just a crap stay busy fight recently. Okay,
right. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, if I look at Shabransky and I say, okay, Shabransky and Fonfara, that's a better quality of opponent in my mind when you consider the skill level that Shabransky brings versus the skill level that Fonfara brings that he had to deal with. So
yeah,
I like it. Yeah, see what I'm saying? So I like it. He's going to have to watch Joe Smith power because Joe Smith right now, like both of these guys is coming in with a wave of confidence. They're coming in with a wave of believability in themselves. The only difference is I think Barrera has the skill to win. The problem is, does he have the IQ to implement his skill set over a course of a 12-round period? That's going to be the issue with Sullivan Barrera.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested to see how it plays out stylistically. We've seen Barrera be able to box pretty effective recently. Shabransky, that was actually a pretty impressive win if you actually think about it. Shabransky was that one of those guys up and coming at 175, like we're seeing now from the Eastern Euro block with all the rest of them, Dirrell and what's his name, Kovacic and all these other guys. Shabransky was included in that crop of them. The guys that are considered to be the next stage of contenders. Within a fight or two, that stage. So these guys are very close to being on the brink of title stardom. And Sullivan Barrera took him out. That guy that was riding the high wave as well. So, both of these guys, like you said, are riding the high wave. You could probably say, as far as the more notable names, Joe Smith has them, of course, in Fonfara and B-Flop at the time. That's what we're going to call him from that fight. That was not B-Hop. That was B-Flop that he beat in there. I got
some for B-Flop, Mr. My Ankle Hurt. At the end for the final blow. Y'all might want to stay tuned for that. I got something for that ass.
Well, you seen the suppression socks and all that just to keep the blood flowing. So, he might not be lying. I'm actually thinking I think Barrera could actually pull the knockout in this one. We see Fonfara had Joe Smith hurt in their fight, and I think Barrera has the accuracy to where he could time Joe Smith. Well, I think he's going to try and put more pressure, be more of a pressure fighter in this one. Our boy Diesel's actually been preparing with Joe Smith, been in his camp training with him. We should have tried and get him. We should have got him on the damn show. I don't know what I was thinking. He could actually broke it down for us as far as what they've been doing. They can't possibly, or what he's seeing from Joe. He's saying Joe's looking dangerous though, and not to count him out.
But he has two young bulls.
He's saying his boxing skills are underrated as far as a boxer. That's not necessarily what we've come to think of Joe Smith initially, but he's saying his boxing skills are highly underrated from what he's seen from him.
Let's keep one thing in mind, too, though. Sullivan Barrera left Abel Sanchez because Sanchez was trying to make him a power puncher, and he went back to Miami down there with Mundo and Salas and them and reinvigorated his skills. And that's the Sullivan Barrera we're seeing now, the Sullivan Barrera that, actually has some good boxing skills. So and then what you're saying about Joe Smith putting boxing together, because if you got power and you can put some boxing moves together, at light heavyweight, you're dangerous. You can be a dangerous light heavyweight.
My only thing about Barrera in this fight is he tends to keep his punches out there too long.
Yes.
And that's what I would be worried about in this fight is Joe Smith, because that's how Shabransky actually was able to counter Sullivan Barrera in their fight. Barrera holding his punches out there too long, which I think that's one of those bad habits that's set in from amateurs more than anything, and nobody's ever really been on him about it in the pros. So that is the one thing I'd be worried about. Joe Smith is becoming known as this power puncher. We've seen Barrera go down in a couple of his fights against Ward and, of course, against Shabransky. So, I mean, that's the thing to look out for in this one. But he does seem to be reinvigorated since leaving that Sanchez camp, and going down to Miami. So the next fight that we'll be previewing is, this is actually a pretty interesting one as well.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is. I
think you only put this on here. I think you only made this to fuck with me. I think you only put this on here to fuck with me.
I mean, your boy was that close to a damn title shot, man. We didn't even know it. You know what? That's what's crazy. Nobody suspected that he was that damn close to a title shot before he did what he did. But anyways, man, we got Jezreel Corrales making his debut with is this his debut or a second fight with Golden Boy?
Who?
Jezreel Corrales. I think this is his first fight
because wasn't he with Top Rank?
Yeah. Actually, this is his first one with Golden Boy because they set this up for your boy. So yeah, this is his first one with Golden Boy. He was signed recently after the Gamboa debacle. But Corrales will be defending his WBA junior lightweight title against Robinson Castellanos. He's moving up in weight for this fight. They fought at, they did fight at 130 actually. So no, he's not. He moved up in weight to fight Yuriokas Gamboa in his last fight. So he'll be fighting, this is his second fight at 130 against Jezreel Corrales. Let me get your thoughts on this fight, man. It's actually pretty interesting stylistically. Don't let the records fool you, like we always say. The cherry don't always know he's a cherry. Castellanos has been in there against some dogs, and, don't let the record fool you with him. A Salido type of story. Go ahead, Bo. Let me get your thoughts on this fight and who you got taking it.
Good fight, Corrales.
All right.
What you want me to talk long on a fight that I don't? Fuck this fight, man. Fuck this motherfucker.
Are you that?
Okay, man.
you that mad at him about it?
No, actually, you know what? This you hit it right on the head. This is actually a good fight because when you look at it, Robinson Castellanos is an interesting story because he beat Rocky Juarez, and then he beats Rocky Juarez, but then loses to Oscar Escadón, and then beats Then beats Yuneski Gamboa. So it's like he's one of those dudes that for some reason, man, he'll beat. Like, he beat Caballero. So he'll beat these, like, hire dudes, but then lose to these who the fucks. It's like, dog, what the hell? So it's interesting, but like you said, don't let the record fool you. Him being 24-12 don't mean that record is very deceiving, because what people have to understand too, a lot of times guys will take fights on very short notice. Guys will take a fight like, with a 2-week notice or a 1-week notice. So, but I actually like this fight only because what he did to Gamboa, I could see him doing this to Corrales, because Corrales throws wide looping punches. He can come over the top with his right hand. Corrales is not exactly the most fundamentally sound guy either himself. Sometimes Corrales can get kind of wild in there, and we do know you can put him down. So it's a very interesting fight where you can actually see either one of these guys, winning this fight. Now, Corrales has never been knocked out. He just has a loss. He has a decision loss. But I can definitely see where Castellanos can be effective. But at the same time, you have from an experience standpoint, I mean, I'd be, I can't pronounce that dude's name.
Castellanos.
Jezreel Corrales, right. Corrales beat Usiyama. He beat him one time by knockout, then he beat him second time by decision. So he's riding a really high split decision, too. So he's riding a high wave. I actually thought that maybe Usiyama won that fight, but he did start off kind of slow. But Corrales throws those looping punches, and we've seen that Castellanos, if you throw a looping hook, he comes right over the top with a straight right hand, and he's relentless. Like, this dude is relentless, and he's on you. And that's kind of a weakness for Corrales. Not to where he loses, but I'm saying that's a weakness where when the guy's coming at him, he's not exactly an inside fighter. He needs space. So it's an interesting matchup. I'm going to pick Castellanos to win only because he beat Gamboa, so I would hate to see him lose after beating Gamboa. Beat Gamboa, win a fucking title. That way it can legitimize your victory over Gamboa. Shit.
I mean, man, if I'm a betting guy, a gambler, like that old powdered egg drinking motherfucker 2K, who can join us this evening, but still going to have to edit this part and hear it.
Because we got a long list of motherfuckers to call out.
Now, if I'm a gambler, man, I actually would not be mad. I would actually put some money down as an underdog on him. It's definitely one of those fights stylistically that could play into his hands, and like I said, he has a Salido type of story. The only thing he's missing is a world title. You know what I'm saying? That is the only thing he's missing is a world title. He's beat the guys that nobody's expected him to beat, and as Bo said, he's lost the ones that he shouldn't have. Like Eskindon. But Eskindon, I got to give you that one. He was actually up on that fight and was close to knocking him out. And he got kind of careless and caught himself. So that's why I'm like moving up to 130. Eskindon is actually a bigger puncher than we realize. Gary Russell actually said the same thing post-fight after fighting him. Eskindon is actually a powerful puncher. But, Corrales was able to knock out the long-reigning guy in Uchiyama. He's not necessarily known as a power puncher, but, it's the punch you don't see that could put you out as well. So that's one of my things is, with those looping punches, I think Castellanos, in his high activity and keeping his hands down, he could get caught with one like that and knocked out, as he was against Eskindon. But Corrales doesn't have that kind of power. But like I was saying, the one you don't see is the one that could put you out. So, but I'm actually leaning towards Castellanos, man. Like, I've seen enough from him to where I don't doubt him in fights. It's interesting because he's at 130 now, and he has I won't say a style similar to Lomachenko, but as far as creating the angles and using his legs to, the pivoting, he is similar to Lomachenko in that fashion. Just not the same technically sound guy, but as far as the pivoting and that, he's similar to Lomachenko, and with him fighting at 130 now, I just think that's pretty interesting. But anyways, we'll go ahead and go to the next one that's coming up this weekend, which I believe is we got Miguel Berchelt fighting. He'll be defending his WBC junior lightweight title for the first time against Takashi Miura, who's an ex-titleist himself, at 130. Man, this fight has a fight of the year written all over it. I mean, fireworks. We missed it because it's the 4th. If you missed the 4th of July, you're gonna get your fireworks in this one. You're gonna make up for it. Bo, let me get your thoughts, prediction on this one. How you see it going?
I love this fight. This fight I'm geared up for. It's funny, too, because you got that fight. You got Omar Figueroa versus Robert the Ghost Guerrero, Sean Monahan versus Brown. So, but this fight here is the fight that I'm looking at like, if there's any fight I watch this weekend, is this one. Listen, this has, like you said, fight of the year candidacy on it because these are two guys. They were on each other's fight, going to war with the other guy. Like, Muta went to war with, what's that guy's name? I can't remember that guy's name he went to war with. But Muta was going to war with this one guy after coming off the Vargas. No, Muta went to war because he was on the Vargas Berchelt undercard, and he went to war with another guy on that undercard. And I can't think of the guy's name. But anyway, he goes to war with that guy. And then right after that, we saw Berchelt go to war with Vargas. And he wins the fight. And the thing about that Muta fight was, that was a fight he was actually losing.
Against Roman. Okay, I know you talked about now. Yeah.
Right, that's it. That was a fight he was losing. And he just kept going hard to the paint, hard to the body, hard to the paint, and hard to the body, okay? He just kept going, and he wound up winning that fight. Now, I got Berchelt winning this fight. I'm going to tell you why. The only reason why he was able to beat Miguel Roman because Miguel Roman didn't have enough firepower. He didn't have enough firepower because he had Muta hurt a few times, but he just didn't have enough firepower to get him out of there or get him off of him. Berchelt has that firepower. Berchelt has the firepower to get you off of his ass. Berchelt has the firepower to, to, if he gets you hurt, like Roman had Moria, he can put him out, he can put him down. And he has a very high energy. He has a very high energy output in a fight. So he's high energy, he's high output. And he can get a late knockout. Like I said, he stopped Berchelt late in the fight. He was still punching hard late. Berchelt stopped Vargas late in the fight. He was still punching hard late in the fight. So, and if Vargas was able to knock him out, and Vargas, I don't believe, hits as hard as Berchelt, then Berchelt should be able to knock him out. But like, Berchelt is one of those dudes, and I remember somebody telling me this. Berchelt is so dangerous of a fighter that Rocky Martinez chose to fight Orlando Salido a second time instead of fighting Berchelt. So.
Yeah. I mean, Takashi's been in some wars, man. We can just leave that in there. I think it's, he was a champ, like you said, but he's been in some wars. You look at the Francisco Vargas fight, you look at the Miguel Roman fight, and you know what we're going to get from him and Miguel Berchelt. It's definitely going to be a war for as long as it lasts. Berchelt's the bigger guy. He has the 4-inch reach advantage and the high output to go with it. So, it's going to be interesting because, Miura has that puncher's chance because he has, he puts in the work and you seen him go to war against Vargas and he put everything out there. Same thing against Roman. That would probably be my only concern. Berchelt doesn't need to get himself in these kind of wars because he's going to end up be in the next Bandito Vargas eventually, you know, if he continues. But, you know, like you said, the high output, I expect him to be able to stop Takashi Miura in this fight. That's my take. Yeah, I do expect him. But, you know, that's just to put that out there, you know, Berchelt does have a knockout loss. So like I said, it's always a puncher's chance. But if I'm definitely going with him being the one that's going to knock Miura out in this one. I think he's actually going to overwhelm Miura. Probably within 7. I see like 7th round knockout in this one for him. I just think the volume is going to get to him. But like I said, I did hear candidate for as long as it lasts.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So I guess that's it. As far as the fights we're breaking down for the weekend, that's the big conclusion one. That's a card that's going to be held on HBO this weekend, so check that out, y'all. And then the following week after that, I think we have no, that's not the Garcia Browner week. That's the week after. But you know, we still got some big cards coming up this summer, y'all. So just be paying attention. Only 7 months through the year in boxing, and it's been tremendous. Can we get a final blow from you on this one?
Oh, you didn't do the U.O.E.N.O?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that one. Actually, I'll go ahead and drop the U.O.E.N.O, which is actually a pretty good one this week. For the big boxing historians out there like Scott Knipe. Shout out to him and RDB2 and of course championship rounds. But yeah, he's one of the historians that chop it up with us. But he'll like this one. On this day, Randolph Turpin upset Sugar Ray Robinson by decision to win a world middleweight title in London in a 15-round fight. So, you know, a shout out to him. Upset a legend. Man, that's pretty interesting right there overseas too, man. That shows you how you know, these guys, the fighters back in the day used to get down. You know, Sugar Ray Robinson was the big guy. He went over to the other guys on down, defend his shit. To defend, not to win it, to defend it.
To defend,
listen to what I said. Yeah, listen to what I said. To defend it, not to win it. So it just shows you the mind state of those boxers from that era back then. But let me go ahead and kick it to Bo and try and get a final blow out of them.
All right, before I start the final blow, I want to point something out that I think people aren't looking at. We have not where you have at least 4 heavyweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and I believe it is the super lightweight, where you could possibly, if everything keeps playing out the way it is, come 2018, have 4 undisputed champions. That has never been done before. If Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder fights Joseph Park and win, then they fight each other, and that's for all the belts. If Andre Ward is, well, they're 1 fight away from it. Let's say that. These are 1 fight away. If Andre Ward was and win that fight, then, you know, he's undisputed. If Gennady Golovkin does beat Canelo Alvarez and fights Billy Joe Saunders, he's undisputed. Then, of course, we know what's going on with Terrence Crawford and Ndongo. So that's an excellent feat that I want everybody to look at. We are 1 or 2 fights away from having 4 undisputed champions in the division. So let's try to make that happen. My final blow is probably what my partner would be the fuckery of boxing award. Let me break this down to you guys, okay? Because I don't want people to misinterpret what I'm saying. Floyd Mayweather decides to play the villain. Floyd Mayweather gets on our nerves. Floyd Mayweather is a coon. I'll be the first one to say it. I don't like who he is. The person he is outside of boxing, can't fucking stand him, okay? Does he do some good things? Of course he does some good things. You know, of course he does some good things. But Floyd Mayweather has coon tendency and has done some coon shit, all right? His personality, the money man, makes you not want to like him, makes you hate him, okay? Makes you hope and wait for his downfall and shit to fall down on him. He does. I'll be the first one to say that, right? Now, with all that being said, I'm going to need a 1 Bernard Hopkins and a 1 Skip Bayless to shut the fuck up need y'all to shut the fuck up, and I'm going to tell y'all why I'm going to need y'all to shut the fuck up. We all, there was a thing that come out, and this always happens whenever Floyd has a fight coming up, where some type of scandal or some type of shit come out about something he did. Now, recently we know Floyd Mayweather owed back taxes for 1 fucking year, which is 2015, right? The IRS like, yo, man, you owe us back tax for 1 fucking year, 2015, okay? Floyd has the money, but what does Floyd do? Floyd said, well, let me pay y'all after the Conor McGregor fight. So what Floyd did is what we do when we sit and pay bills, and you got a bill that's due on the 5th, on the 12th. You got the money, but you want to hold that bill off till you get paid on the 20th. So what do? You call the electric company and you say, hey, listen, can I get an extension to the 20th? And I'll pay y'all on the 20th because that's when I get paid. And you have the money, you just don't want to yank it out right now, right? So we all have done this shit, right? Okay. And I'm saying this because everybody seems to be just wanting to go in and talk shit about this situation with him owing back taxes. And the people that are doing it, you were fucking quiet when it was Manny Pacquiao that owed $60 million in back taxes. So he had years he wasn't fucking paying. He was fucking quiet when Manny Pacquiao said that animals are better than homosexuals. That was fucking quiet when that shit happened. Skip Bayless didn't have nothing to say when that went down. And if he said something, it was extremely fucking little. Extremely fucking little. Now, I would say it again. Floyd Mayweather you can't wait for shit to happen to him bad. But if you can't say the same thing when it's the fighter that you like, you can't say shit when it's the fighter that you don't like. If you're going to be quiet when we look up and we see Manny Pacquiao make excuse after excuse after excuse for why he lost a fucking fight, if you're going to sit back and be quiet after you see how football players are being treated, like Colin Kaepernick is being treated for only doing something he felt was fucking right, and you're going to be fucking quiet about that shit, then you need to be quiet about this right here, all right? You really do, Skip Bates. You need to shut the fuck up and be fucking quiet, because if we really want to keep it real, there are hundreds of athletes out there that are in the same position as fucking Floyd and worse. So if you're not going to talk about their situation, I'm going to need you to shut the fuck up. And if you really want to be honest, Skip Bayless, Pacquiao came back because he needed fucking money. He came back because he needed fucking money, okay? Floyd is coming back because he likes the spotlight. He's getting paid $100 million. Pacquiao's coming back because he needs the fucking money. And he came back before Floyd. So if we really going to keep it a buck, let's call it what it is. And I need Bernard Hopkins to shut the fuck up, because Bernard Hopkins went on this long-ass, fucking stupid-ass soliloquy on the Breakfast Club, okay? And he wanted to tell us how, oh, no, Floyd don't make that much money. All that money Floyd get, he pays out to people. Bernard, in business, that's what the fuck happens. You have the head honcho. The head honcho has his right-hand man. Then like you have the CEO. Then you have the COO. Then you have the director of this. Then you have the director of that. Then you have the minions, the grunts. That's in business. But the head dude that makes the most money is the motherfucker that calls the shots, okay? And in business that is growing, you can't control everything, so you have people that you pay to take care of this or take care of this and take care of that. So I don't know what the fuck it was he was trying to get to about how, Floyd has people that do this and do that. Well, in business, that's what motherfuckers do in business. They got people that do shit for them. That's why they have a business, okay? So, but I'm going to need you to shut up, because you're the same Bernard Hopkins that once said how a white boy wouldn't beat you. You're the same Bernard Hopkins that threw a Puerto Rican flag on the fucking ground and started a riot when you fought Tito Trinidad. You're the same motherfucking Bernard Hopkins who won us, that had excuse after excuse after excuse for every time you fucking lost. Oh, yeah, and you're the same Bernard Hopkins that didn't have a motherfucking thing to say about the racist emails for a company that your bitch ass worked for. Okay? So I'm going to need you to be quiet, because since you cannot address your own shit, you shouldn't talk about nobody else's, because you made it appear for years you was the strong black man for everything fucking black. You was the strong motherfucking black dude that wanted everybody to understand how shit needed to be fair, because of you was being mistreated. But now that you're in a position of power, now that you're in a position of making money, you want to shit on the next motherfucker? You're doing to Floyd what Floyd did to Andre fucking Ward. And it fucking sucks that both of you motherfuckers are like that. So, Bernard, you need to shut the fuck up because your house ain't that straight either, okay? And you're a businessman now. So in business, Bernard, can you honestly tell me that you know how much y'all pay for the papers y'all bring in? Bernard, can you honestly tell me that you know how much that y'all actually put down for every fucking venue y'all have fights in? Can you honestly tell me that? Or do you have people that you have go out and look at that shit? Yes, while you was talking at the Breakfast Club, I bet you had a motherfucker taking care of something for you. So please, Bernard, please, if you can't check your own house and your shit ain't right, you need to shut the fuck up, okay? Again, I know Floyd makes y'all mad. I know Floyd puts that shit up in y'all face and makes y'all can't wait for shit to happen. I know that. I know that. But when the time comes, when it's you or the fighter that you like that's in that same position, because here's the reality. One thing we know is Floyd got the money. We saw that in the letter. What did he say? Hey, yeah, okay, I got the money, but it's tied up in other things. And in business, when you're a business owner, you do have your money tied up in other things. You just can't liquidate them at the time because they're tied up in other things. Why? Because you're running a fucking business. And you know this, Bernard. And since you guys over there, Golden Boy, had the nerve to write letters trying to publicly trash PBC and ruin the lives of other fighters just like yourself, you can suck a syphilis, HIV, STD dick, motherfucker. I don't want to hear from you. Your shit ain't right either. So that's my final blow. If you're not ready to be fair, if you're not ready to get your own shit in order, don't talk about it. I didn't talk about it when it was Manny. I didn't talk about it when it was Floyd. You know why? Because we see this shit every fucking day on a daily basis with motherfuckers having a little bit of money issue. Why? Because they got too much going on. They can't control every part of it.
Very true. Good point right there, man. Definitely a good way to end the show on that note. We go ahead and do all the handles for everybody since, they couldn't make it on tonight. You can catch, of course, 2K, the Prodigy of Boxing, on YouTube. That's his new channel, or Switch Up, Prodigy of Boxing. You can catch Big Cool on Facebook and YouTube with Colossal Boxing Talk. I believe he's also on Twitter, same thing. And I'll let you do the honors for you and Bernard, man. Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, you can catch me and my man Bernard. My man Bernard also does, he runs the Müvment Instagram page, and he puts some skits up there. They're very funny. You guys should check them out. He also does something with Malachi, with him and Malachi versus everybody. But you can also catch him on the show with me, and Truth the Facts About Boxing, on the YouTube page. Subscribe. It's free, y'all. Damn. Also, Instagram. Catch it on Instagram, Truth_FactBox1, and Twitter, capital T for Truth, underscore capital F for FactBox1. Pound for Pound Boxing. Shout out to everybody out there. Pound for Pound Boxing. Boxing Beats and Rhyme. Rope a Dope. Of course, our boys right here at the Müvment. Guard Your Grill. We Live, We Sleep Boxing. Everybody out there doing their thing. Ring IQ and Has a Fire podcast. And an extra special big shout out to Derek James for getting his guy Robert into that 168-pound tournament. I think some big things is coming to them. And 2017 has been a great year so far with boxing. Let's not mar 2017 with the hatred and disdain that we have for other fighters. Let's enjoy these fights. Let's give these guys these credit. And, 2017, scale of 1 to 10, I give it an 8.5.
Man, and just think, the stuff we got coming up, other than, we don't talk about the circus on this show. We've done a service to ourselves and not talking about it. We got the bigger show coming up after that, man, the Triple G and Canelo, ultimately the penultimate fight of the year, and that's only in September. So, we're going to have a couple more months of other big fights coming after that. So if that doesn't excite you, I mean, man, I'm thinking we could possibly see Sean Porter versus Danny Garcia this year. That's just me. This year for the WBC interim title, that would be some dope shit right there. I'm thinking we're close to seeing that being announced. But anyways, man, I'm trying to Divine Liberty. You can catch me on hoopjab.com, and of course on the Müvment, Instagram, Twitter, Bernard does a good job of holding it down, though, so I've been letting him run wild and do his skits, man. Been pretty good reception, so big up to him. Other than that, man, you can catch us next week. We try to do this thing every Sunday, but, things pop up in the rise. So for the most part, man, you can catch us every Sunday generally, unless something happens. But, yeah, thank you for the continued support, man. And, yeah, like Bo says, click the damn like button and subscribe on YouTube. Peace.